picture of the reference implementation of policy machine. Policy machine is 3-layer application consisting of presentation layer, application logic layer, and data layer. The data layer uses Microsoft Active Directory as a data repository and LDAP servers as access mechanism. The application logic layer contains policy server, which manages all data and relations stored in Active Directory, and the policy server provides services to admin client and session simulator. The admin client, session simulator, session manager, user sessions, and applications are all part of the presentation layer. The policy to be implemented is specified in a PM file, which is loaded into Active Directory by the admin client. The admin client reads the policy specification and sends them to the policy server as commands, and the policy server, after parsing the commands, loads attribute and permissions into Active Directory. The virtual object computation allows finding the objects accessible to a user attribute, and during subject attribute activation, the attributes are activated for the user according to the capability. And finally, reference mediation function grants permission if it is available in the capability set. This slide shows that a typical implementation of RBAC using policy machine. This is an RBAC policy in PM policy machine where like doctor, intern, consultant are user attributes, and medical record and development are object attributes. And we can these are the assignment relations. The arrows are the assignment relations, and the user can be assigned this user attribute doctor, and further this user attribute is assigned permissions by assignment onto operation sets. When this assignment has been carried out, then doctor can read this object attribute, which has been further assigned to object O1 and O2. So this is our implementation of RBAC, and here the reference mediation function falls here, which checks that if before giving any permission that these are part of the capabilities of a user or not. This slide shows the policy syntax for an RBAC policy. So how this is a typical RBAC policy is specified in a PM file, and we are telling that add a policy RBAC into PM and add a user attribute doctor to this policy RBAC. Each command takes a single line and may start with add or assign. Assignment relations, here we assign the object attribute to an offset, and here different permissions are being added into an offset. Event response language is context-free grammar based on EBNF format. PM uses event response rules to take specific actions in response to certain events, which also helps to enforce history-based policies. A script in our language starts with script header and may have 0 or more rules. A rule consists of 2 parts: event pattern, which starts with when, and a response to that event starting with the keyword do. The script is compiled and enabled by the policy server, and it tries to match which events which are occurring with the event pattern. And if the event matches, then the policy server takes the action specified in the response. In the example script shown, the event pattern starts after when, and this event will be activated when any doctor reads an object of attribute forms. Then it will assign that object attribute to the object attribute shared. Now I'll explain the implementation of generalized temporal RBAC in policy machine and how policy machine can be used to mitigate insider threat in healthcare domain. These are the new capabilities we have added into policy machine, like specifying command syntax for temporal constraints, extending of Active Directory schema for temporal context, and then context validation for in the policy server before assignment of user to user attribute or user attribute to permission set. It is checked against the temporal constraints, and then calendar specification has been added into event response. Even in event pattern, we try to match if we try to initiate an event if the current time matches to some specified time, and then we have added a healthcare application for checking of constraints. These are the details of the GTRBAC policy in policy machine. Interval is defined by start time and end time. An interval constraint is valid if the current time falls between the start and time and the end time. If the end time is not specified, then interval is valid for all times after start time. Periodic time constraints. It defines the start time at which an event occurs periodically. The start time is defined in terms of year, month, week, day, hour, or minute. The duration constraint defines the unit of time and number of units the constraint is valid after start time. And these temporal constraints are all three: interval, periodic time, and duration are valid for user attribute activation, user to user attribute assignment, and user attribute to permission assignment. Also, the context validation has in policy server, like user to user attribute assignment and user attribute activation is done during subject attribute activation, and before activation or assignment is done in the policy server, we check against temporal constraints that the temporal constraints are met or not. If the temporal constraints are met, then only then the assignment is done. And similarly, in the reference mediation function, where permission is assigned to the user, again temporal constraints are checked for validity. The syntax for the interval constraints is shown in this slide. This is how we specify the constraints in the policy file. This is the name of the constraint, like first quarter, the begin date, which is like month, day, year, hour, or minute, and the end date. And then this constraint is valid of which relation, that this is for user to offset assignment or user to user attribute activation, and this is how the constraints are, the interval constraint is specified. So coming on to periodic time constraint, here we give the name, and then if it is valid for all years, the months, maybe for the first quarter only, the first 4 months, and then the weeks, or just the first week or all weeks, then the days, if only working days, then these are the days for the periodic time constraint, and what time this constraint starts, and in the end for the relation with which this constraint is valid. And this is the duration constraint, and after the start time of periodic constraint, how much duration the constraint is valid. And this is like, if we have, in the previous slide I have given the periodic time constraints, and this duration constraint here tells that the constraint is valid for 8 hours after the start time of periodic time constraint, and the same we have like for the relation, for which relation this constraint is valid. So to store the constraints, these interval, periodic time, and duration, we have also added classes into Active Directory schema. So whenever the constraints are read from the policy file, these are stored into required places in Active Directory. So these are the classes, and these are the attributes for interval, periodic time, and duration constraints in Active Directory schema. The calendar specification has been added to event pattern, which allows to take time sensitive action. The event in calendar specification is activated when current time matches the time which is specified in the script. The script is compiled. In this case, script is compiled and enabled in Pulse server. All actions coming under the calendar specification are scheduled to execute at the future time. And if that time has already elapsed, then the actions are performed immediately. This is the grammar for the calendar specification. So coming to mitigation of insider threat, for mitigation of insider threat, the healthcare data must be classified as normal or sensitive. And sensitive medical data should be the one disclosure of which will cause embarrassment or discrimination to the patient. The patient's privacy is compromised by leakage of sensitive information, so he or she should be the one to make the decision to declare the information as sensitive. This can be achieved by applying RBAC for normal documents and DAC policy for sensitive documents. And in this case, the curious insider is just now restricted to the normal documents, as the sensitive information is available to the patients is available to the doctor for his own patients only. Just to further clarify, I'll just give a hypothetical scenario. Like we have, for example, we can implement all the cases only in DAC policy or only in RBAC policy, but they have their own issues if you try to implement these requirements in a DAC policy. Here I'm just taking a hypothetical scenario that We have 2 doctors, Alice and Bob, and 4 patients, A, B, C, D.